evening, everybody. How you guys doing? This is Hell's Cat Death bringing you another WNF. Hope everybody is sit back and relax and ready for Turkey Day. I know that is coming up upon us very, very quickly. But enough of that. We're off to tonight's matchup. Battlegrounds, Episode 4, Invasion of England. This is where it gets going to get a little bit more funner and see how this is going to go. Your 9 p.m. 2nd Panzer going against KMD. And then at 10 p.m., White Wolves versus 12 Pans. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is what we got going on. 10v10, 8v8 does not matter. 15-minute timer. British always defend, they would be on the left side of the room. Both teams will both play both sides on both maps, so there will be a game 4, no matter what the outcome is. Max type of 3 of one type of tank, so like i.e. 3 E5s or 3 Super Conquerors. Max of 3 TDs, only 2 of the same type, so you could only see 2 183s and 1 4005 or vice versa. And of course, only 1 arty allowed, but it could only be brought out. The offense can only bring an arty if the defense brings an arty. So that would be a good plot twist. We actually have some pretty good arty maps tonight. So map 1 will be Overlord Assault. The Americans are assaulting England. Got tired of whatever, but the Americans decide to go after our friendly fellows across the pond. So we start off on Overlord, then we go to Dukla Pass, and then of course the tiebreaker will be Highway Encounter. First to cap or kill all wins. Tonight's moderator for this special event, as always, my great friend, Mr. Omega. How you doing this evening, sir?
Doing great. Always enjoy doing these special fun events that just change things up.
Hell yeah. A lot of fun, I hope. And I think a lot of people are really enjoying it. So, my commentary on the side here, my co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, Dis. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great, and early happy Thanksgiving to both you and Omega and all the viewers out there. This is going to be a good one.
It's looking like we're going to be doing a 9v9. KMD has one more person loading up.
Awesome.
Perfect. More tanks, the better.
Right, exactly. So this is going to be interesting to see here. Both nations have gun depression. That is well
Yes.
known. Brits have a little bit more. The Americans have some good armor, and they have consistency in the E4, where it's kind of a crapshoot with that 183 and 4005. The E4 tends to pin its shots and does, typical. We're not going to see a 500 roll out of an E4.
No, not at all. And I think especially with Overlord and Dukla, as you rightly said, these maps fit these tanks really well. There's some great ridge lines to play, great avenues of attack. So it's just, and like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how they design these tank lineups. No light tanks on the British side, so scoutings that have to take place largely by mediums. So you're looking at like Action X, 4202. On the Americans, they can rely on the Sheridan, but they also have the fantastic Patton. Like, why do you need a scout tank when you got vision and a turret like that, right? So
right, exactly.
it's going to be interesting. Vision's always important in wide open field maps. You need to know where the tanks are coming from so you can set up properly. So I'm going to look for that in this first map, is who gets the vision and then can get those big alpha guns in the game.
Right, and then tonight, I probably should send a reminder out. With Artie,
Yeah, if defense brings it, then the offense can
I
bring
did
it. But we
inform
need
the
to,
teams.
yeah, They have to notify us that so we can give offense an opportunity to put one up.
Gobble gobble there, Oddball. How you doing?
Oddball's already in there. Their number one viewer, I think, right? That guy's always there.
Right, he tunes in every week. So, CGC T92.
Yeah. Wow. Right.
Right. So once Artie gets dropped, I mean, let's be honest. Once it's inevitable. These maps are wide open, and just kind of like in the.
I don't see. I mean, they're both great Arties because one just has that incredible arc, which I don't really think makes a big difference on this map or Dukla. However, that T92 is just devastating what that can do to tank, and we already got lots of tanks coming up, and I think and here's what you're seeing right away with KMD, and I think you'll see that tonight a lot with the Americans, is that T57 with those heat rounds.
Right. I agree. Filthy.
But I mean, I think but again, I think the Super Conqueror is a great counter to those heat rounds.
I'm going to say the two nations that are weakest against heat rounds are British and German. So, but the T92 I find to be better just because the reload time's better and the splash is not quite as good as the GC, but it's up there. So just American Artie is just so well all around. 30-something second reload time, big splash, big alpha. Throw an AP round out there, you're going to one-shot everybody. So.
And we decided to go 9v9, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, second
so
PD.
Like second Panzer has a mob. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, yep. Second Panzer Division coming in here. Feline Goose in the 183. Private Militia. Sudden Death. I'll take it like sudden. Yeah, it's sudden death. 4202s.
And sudden death.
Fur de Beers. Odin Kinga. All in Super Conks. Killer Cav Scout. Karate Kid. Wolf Silver. All in Chieftains. Over to you, Des.
Yeah. On KMD side, we got an E4 by Wulp, E3 by Monster Hunter, 2 of the M60s by Cruiser and Juicy Dirk, Patton by Warthog, 257 heavies by Pope and Reaper, and then 2 E5s by Wrath of Achilles and Miserable Death. Let's get this Battlegrounds going.
I love the E5.
Yeah, I'm loving these tank lineups right now.
I like the E5s.
We never see it in comp, but it's so reliable, right?
Right. Well, and this is like
look how much vision they have out there.
I mean, this is kind of like a hybrid between, because granted, it's a competitive format, but I mean, this is unlike most competitive formats. So the E5
and that's what
might work.
Yeah, well, and I'm not patting us on the back and just stating it like it is. That's one of the cool things about adding the Battlegrounds format into WNF and to kind of comp play, is that we're getting to see tanks that we don't normally see in comp go at each other. That's kind of fun.
Right. Yeah, we've seen some crazy tank picks. I mean, the 277 being ran beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen, and here we're going to see a lot of the Brits. So, all right.
Yep.
Let's get this going.
Setting up this defense, that's where I think really the Death Star or the 4005 come in really nicely, is that you can just camp those things almost along the zipper and just really play a nice prevent defense. But obviously, you need to set up your first line, and that ridge is going to be it for the Brits, right along that E line.
I understand why. Now, second PD deferred Artie. They're definitely the way that they're playing it, completely hold down. They don't want a T92 raining hell.
Yeah. No. Not when you're playing hold down with tanks like Super Conquerors that aren't that mobile. The T92 can just be devastating to that, especially on assault mode.
Nice pop over shot of Dirk there.
Yeah.
Ooh, getting hit by Odin.
Bad luck for
I don't know.
KMD having their E3 spawn on the beach.
No, that's a little rough, right? It's going to take him a little while to get in the battle here.
I love that they elected to not take a light tank and use the M60 instead of the light tank.
Yeah, you got more hit points. You know where they're going to be, so it's not like you need, I guess, a ton of vision. You just need to know where they're coming from and where they're grouping. And they got pretty good intel. I'm liking this kind of like push to the east of the map along the D-E line of 2nd Panzer. I think it's also very important to clog up that 9 line. Because if you open that 0 line to
that's
an attacking team, they can get behind you.
KMD on the rotate now.
Yep. Kind of grouping down below on that 3-4 line. Not much of an overmatch, but I think they're definitely trying to pressure maybe those mediums there, those 4202s. Maybe try to catch one of those tanks out.
Did they get a hint of where the TD was? Or is it?
I don't think so. I don't think they've spotted where Goose is. Are you talking where the Death Star is?
Yeah, where the 183.
Oh, there's a little bit of a push here in this middle part by 2nd Panzer. They're going after that Patton and E5.
Yeah, they want Wrath out.
Not landing a lot of shots though.
Miserable Death coming up on the flank.
Yeah, by pushing over, they kind of open themselves up a little bit. Let's see if this Death Star's gonna land anything here. Miserable Death is definitely giving up his side to Sudden Death and Goose.
Oh, Pope not landing any of those shots.
Oh,
and
there
the
it is. Nice. Takes out Pope, in the 57. Great shot by Goose. Sudden Death now is moving in. This kind of worked out really well for them down here on this 4 line. I think they were using the tanks to the best of the ability of using that hull down. It's a really good play by 2nd Panzer right now.
I've kind of noticed with this map, it's not like the other assault type maps where the base is like fully defendable. I mean, you're posting everybody up in front of the base, not around it or anything like that. In this map, everybody's in front of the base. There's no, so it's basically a kill all. There's no capping on this one.
Yeah, it's a big battle along the EF line traditionally, and I would say that's even true in pub matches. And we got a little rotate going on by Militia and Sudden coming around again in those 4202s, which have already proven to be very, very deadly. They catch Dirk here or Monster Hunter, is going to be in trouble. Monster Hunter goes down in the E3. That's a huge loss right there. EP is really just mowing through them at this point. This is basically cleanup.
Wondering if there wasn't just not enough armor.
Or armor in the right positions, right? Like, I think KMD had the right idea swinging around that kind of like that low 3 line, but it just didn't pay off for them. Doesn't mean it was the wrong play. It just means that for whatever reason it didn't work out. The Death Star popped the tank and their little rear side flank didn't pay off.
There it is. Great job going out to 2nd Panzer, taking the first round.
Yeah, really good work by them across the board.
Do some damage rundown?
Yep. Sure. Take a look here over on the KMD side. Warthog up there top with the Patton, putting up 1348. Not too bad there. Wrath of Achilles in the E5, putting up almost 2K and almost blocking 2K. That's a pretty good game out of the E5. Both those M60s delivered on the damage. We were talking about these in comp play this weekend, and you're seeing the M60, when you get its gun in the right position, really good there. Cruiser putting up 2,500, and Juicy Derrick also putting up almost 2,400. Other notables on KMD, the E4 by Wulp, put up over 2K, and both Pope and Reaper in their 57s. You'd like more than just a little over 1,000 in the 57s, but not horrible. Over on the second Panzer side, a really nice balance across the board there. The 4202, right there at the top with Militia, putting up almost 2,700 in damage. His other buddy down there, Sudden Death, put up 1,634, so not bad there. Wolf Silver and the Chieftain putting up almost 1,900 in damage. And then taking a look at some of the other chieftains there, Karate Kid put up just 1,200. Who else is notable there? Let's take a look at the Super Conquerors. Beers right there, 2,357, blocking over a K. That's really awesome. And then the two Super Conquerors at the bottom, clearly there. Kinga, monster game there, 2,500 in damage, 15, almost 1,600 blocking, and Odin putting up the most damage for 2nd Panzer, 3443, blocking almost 800. So the British tanks do what British tanks do. Great DPM, and they put it out on the Americans this time.
Hell yeah. Great job. Both teams. We're going to switch sides.
So, Hells, what would you think in terms of countering those British hold-down tanks with the DPM along that EF ridge?
I mean, honestly, the Pattons wouldn't be too bad of a pick for that, just slinging HE. I mean, breaking, but yet again, the 4202, the slope part of the roof, and the turret ring is a known very soft spot in those that are susceptible to heat. So
yeah,
that would probably be my biggest thing here. Let's see if KMD is going to bring out an Artie or not.
Yeah, I thought with the KMD side, I really just thought their heavies didn't deliver. Their mediums definitely punched out the damage, but like when I see a 57 in a matchup like this doing sub 2K, you'd hope to get a couple clips out of your 57s.
Right, even against the Chieftain or even the Super Conch, which is the Super Conch turret. I mean, you just got to wait. You'll rip right through it.
It'll happen.
I know one of my favorite things when I'm in.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I know one of my favorite things in when I'm playing my Patton and have heat. You got hold down Super Conquer, shoot him right through his face. People don't realize it, but for all audience out there, if they've never
just lost a person.
Shot one, you can shoot Super Conquer right through its gun mantlet with a heat round or a high pen round.
Right.
So they're really not that hold down as you would think they were, especially with an accurate gun like a Patton.
We might have to wait here really fast. Look like someone DC'd or.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, did they lose more than one? Because I only see 7 tanks up.
Yep.
And they had 9 last time. It seems like 2 of them got popped off, so we'll wait and see if we can get them back in the party. Yeah. 2nd Panzer's lineup on the Americans is more kind of what I was thinking. Is bring those Pattons, bring those E4s. Uh-oh.
Ooh. My bad.
At least we got them back. They can all throw the same tanks up. They know what to do. I was wondering because kind of like I was thinking about Omega's comment about the nature of where the assault cap is. That almost you can ignore your
Almost like
cap and play even maybe more aggressive on the defensive side. I don't know. It's a thought.
Right. My only thing is, why couldn't you take your E5s and shove them right down the 2 line? Everything else go up
Go
to
right
like,
at 'em.
send your patents to the right. Group up your E4s, 57 heavies, make a presence in like Foxtrot 5-6. While you're and then if you do a feint, act like you're pushing, doing a 5-6 push, while your E5s just keep on trucking right down the beach line. All right, here we go. KMD coming out. Cruiser 4005, Saphiric Reaper 183. Wall coming out with Dirk, Miserable Death, all in Super Conks, Wrath of Achilles, Monster Hunter Warthog, all in Chieftains, and Pope 15B.
Yeah, and over on the second Panzer side, we got double E4s by Militia and Odin, double Patents by Karate Kid and Doug, double 57s right there with Sticker and Beers, and then we got those 3 E5s with Goose, Silver, and Kinga.
Yeah, the only thing I see problem with pushing up the 2 line is if it gets sniffed out, then all
Yeah,
that gun
you're caught
depression
down there.
and that, yeah, you're caught. So like
You're
none
caught,
of us,
and it's guns out of the game.
like
It'd be
none of
one
us
thing if
playing
you had
pubs
something
likes
fast,
to see
right?
me. Yeah, well, true. I was gonna say, how many times do you cuss the other team, your team that goes to the beach on Overlord?
They're sitting down there, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And with keeping those British PDs kind of playing in the back, kind of negates any kind of surprise attack on the cap. Both the 4005 and the S-Star can reset so easily. They don't really need to do much.
Well, especially having that 4005. Even if they are on lower ground, it has that gun depression to aim down where the Death Star doesn't, but the 4005 can take care of somebody below them.
It's interesting that KMD did decide to bring the FV 215B. Pope is rocking that. We haven't seen that in the lineup yet.
Honestly, that's exactly where I was thinking about that you would put it. Would be down there at the Echo 4. He
Hold
could
that
side scrape. Yep.
It's good to see he has a tank. He has a automatic fire extinguisher on his tank.
Thank goodness.
Right, with that Roman candle.
It's taking a second. Yeah, second Panzer's taking some time to get up. They're taking a lot of them spawn down on the beach, and they're coming up the K line. I think they want to get nice and grouped up before they do too much. Get a little vision up there with the few tanks that they had that spawned up.
Almost looking like they're going to do a 9-line shove.
Yeah.
I like the placement of the Death Star and the 4005.
Well, I mean, honestly, this wouldn't be a bad play. Put the double 57s at like Gulf 6.
Yeah.
Keep those there with them with an E5, and then just rotate everybody else down the 9 line.
The thing is, KMD doesn't have to do anything. I mean, all the pressure is on second Panzer. Hold that ridge, use your gun depression, and then let the big boys in the back pop them. Pretty easy setup. See if it pays off.
Right, that's
You're
going to
right,
be the question.
Hells. They grouped up a lot on that 9 line. Yeah. Wow. If I was in that Chieftain by Monster Hunter right there, I'd just be like, come on over and get me. Got a little surprise for you back here. See, this is where the intel, though, where they're missing the intel, is that maybe
Doug
they're
made it.
figuring it out.
Doug lit him up right after Saphiric fired.
Wow, the second Panzer has grouped all 9 of their tanks now basically into 2 grid squares. So they are determined to make a push here.
Every single one of those E5s is 3 marked.
Yeah. Thing is, with the way they're put,
Oh,
ooh,
here
a nice
comes.
Death Star hit right there.
57's now rotating in, and that paid the price.
Yeah. Yeah, but notice that they've also brought Cruiser over in the 4005. So they've brought both of their big guns to bear now in that direction. Still, Monster's doing a great job in that Chieftain there, just keeping him lit, making it hard to push, and giving his allies tons of support there.
Warthog getting focused. Warthog almost going down right there.
Yeah, he's hanging on. He's about a 2-shot right now, unless one of the E4s hits him.
Oh, there's a big hit.
Play careful
Miserable
with
death.
those hit points.
Ooh, 4005 just
Here
whacked.
comes the push over the top on Monster Hunter. So 4 tanks pushing the Chieftain. Chieftain should go down on the next shot. And he does.
Ooh, Amorex dug though in the process. Here comes the push onto the E4s. Oh, nice,
He's
nice
still doing
bounces.
good on
for
hit
private.
points, but they got to take some tanks down, or they got to clean up these 1-shots. Yeah, that's pretty good. Miserable Death is a 1. He goes down. Wrath of Achilles should be in big trouble here. He's surrounded on all sides. He's a 1. Still looking at this from KMD side. You got Doug and Wolf Silver. They're 1-shots. And also the other 57 driver is a 1-shot. A sicker.
There goes Doug, but let's see if they can take down the 183. No, I think they're going to be pretty, unless they go over Wolf Silver. No, that's a pretty dead end.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a dead end road going. Once you're up in that dip, this is going to be interesting because this ain't over quite just yet.
No, not with 2 big alpha guns like the 4005 and the Death Star. I mean, right there's 2 deletes if they connect, and that's a game changer. So you're right.
283 millimeter guns at the end of that dead end.
Yeah.
And they've evened it up too.
A new
Hit
term
points
to
are
the
fairly
word
easy,
dead
too.
end, right? Let's see
Exactly.
if the depression works out. Ooh, nice shot in there. That takes Karate Kid down to a 1.
Yeah, he's 500 hit points.
That's why I was.
Pope's kind of working it there. You still have Walp there. Almost all. It looks like all of his hit points. Trying to keep Wrath of Achilles in the game. I think that's really smart. Another good shot there. Oh, Wrath needs to help out. Maybe take out the 57. He needs to trade something here. Oh, and he goes down without even getting a shot off. That was a little tragic there. Walp should go down next by Kinga. Kinga connects. 57 is on reload. He might get one more shot before Kinga puts him out of his misery. Does get one more shot, but Kinga should get the kill here.
Oh, and it bounces.
Kinga bounces.
Oh, he
So
bounces.
this could be huge. If
Yes,
Walp hits
losing
this,
Ferda.
yeah. Walp took out 3 tanks. 2 of them while he was on a 1-shot.
Wow,
So
that was
he-
there for a
that
minute. I
was
thought Second
huge.
PD had it, and then that clutch play by Ball.
Walp was huge right there. Huge play. I just don't know what happened. I mean, we've all done it before. We've come up on the backside of a tank and we've bounced a shot, and we're like, how did that happen?
Well, the British are victorious.
Wow,
but
good
the
job.
The assault is not working very well yet.
No. really well played there. I thought KMD was in a lot of trouble, and they just weathered the storm, and like we said a lot of times on comp, keeping those guns around to the end of the game, and one or two tanks with a lot of health really paid off for them.
Right.
We'll look at the damage over there on the second PD side. Again, good numbers on both sides. Karate Kid up there in the patent, putting up almost 2,600 damage. That's a really nice game right there. Goose in the E5, 1,600. Wolf Silver put up 19. Kinga, who we saw there at the end, really had some great opportunities. Put up almost 2,300 in damage. E4s also, Militia had a really nice game. Almost 2,600 in the E4 blocking. 1,600, pretty good stuff. Odin put up about 2K also. And then the 57s, right about at 2,000 there is Beers. And Skicker also put up 1,600. Over on the winner's side, the KMD, really nice games here. Reaper there, as you saw in the FV 215B, putting up 2,300. Having that tank alive at the end, the last minute of the game, was huge. Both the Chieftains put up about 1,200. Scooting on down, Juicy Dirk in the Super Conqueror, putting up 2K. The other FV on the other side by Pope, putting up almost 4K, got 4 kills, 1,200 blocking. Really great game. Cruiser in the 4005, putting up 1,700 in damage, but going back to Walp, 4K plus 2K blocked and a kill. His play at the end of that match was critical to the KMD victory.
Hell yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah, he was the MVP.
Fortunately, we don't get to see Artie this time either, because KMD opted no Artie on defense. I would think of all Arties on this map, but
I mean, yeah, Dukla, you can just smash him anywhere. Well, that's good. I mean, so far this has been really balanced by both sides play. Second Panzer, I would say, is one of those up-and-coming teams, in my opinion. Just watching them develop over the last few months, they're really a solid team. And
Yes,
KMD is a very well-established team, been around for a long time, and have been battle-tested and proven that these guys can bring it.
Oh, yeah.
Really good good work by Beaver matching up these two teams.
Beaver did do it. I did it.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah.
I thought Beaver did it.
Nope.
Oh, I gave the wrong credit to Beaver. Beaver, I take it all back. Line. This is all hell's.
But yeah, these teams, I mean, I thought KMD and Second PD are going to be explosive, and they're showing
my
it just
point
so far.
still stands. You did a good job putting together two really nice teams.
Hell yeah. KMD, here we go. Sapphire Reaper coming out in the Badger. Cruiser, Vapor, both in 4005s. Wrath, Warthog, both in Action X's. Wall, Dirk, Death, all in Super Conks. Monster Hunter and Chieftain, and Pope. Ooh. All 10. Over to you, Des.
Yeah. Yeah, bringing it over on this Second Panzer side. Kicker, bringing the Sheridan. So here's our light tank. I think this is a great map for a light tank. Then we got 3 Patents. I love that lineup right there. Militia, Karate Kid, Sudden Death. And then 3 57s, Vikings, Beers, Odin. And then 3 E5s, Goose, Silver, and Kinga. I'm loving both of these lineups here. This is going to be a fun one. Badgers, Shit Barns, everything.
E5s, oh my.
Like the kitchen sink. Yeah.
No E4s.
Like the kitchen sink of British. No E4s. We've seen a couple E4s tonight. Some,
No.
so
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting.
it's looking like Second Panzer wants more mobility. That's the downfall of the E4, E3. So,
Mobility
I
and
mean, the
vision is
T-57
going
is slow enough as it is.
Hey, Fusion, what up, buddy?
This is Oh, HK in the house. Yeah, this is a really good map to get vision on. There's so many different, I guess, angles and places where you can attack from and rotations you can make. To sniff that out early is so important.
This is one of my favorite light tank, medium tank maps, just because of that.
Oh, for sure. Can
Or
also
all
be
around map,
ruthless
actually.
for TDs up where that little windmill is. Kind of, I guess it's on like maybe the G or
the
H line up there.
G4.
Yeah, you can kind of just you're surrounded by rocks and trees. You can poke out, just obliterate someone, poke back. That's a really powerful position if you can hold that. Probably need to stick a medium or another heavy tank up there with you just to make sure you don't get rushed. Interesting play here by KMD. KMD is electing to take this kind of like that second little hill or a windmill location. I guess we'll call this the double windmill location over here on the H line, H6-7. Grouping up all their heavy tanks and mediums there. And they're kind of leaving their... I see what they're doing. So they're going to use that hill as kind of their staging area, and they can get resets down on the cap, and they're going to leave their cap undefended on the west side of the map.
Omega's little puppy there having some fun in the background.
Wanted to be part of the commentary tonight.
He's some sharp teeth right here.
See how they've set Cruiser and Vapors back there in those 4005s, and they can just kind of peek that little edge and boom, reset the cap, and then they have the Badger hull down against these rocks so he can't be hit on his flanks. He can just peek right where he knocked down that tree and reset the cap. The problem I see is that they rotated all their tanks, their heavy tanks, down the 9 line, and nobody's there.
Right, it looked like they went to advance them, and there's nobody there. So yeah, they're flying back across now.
They were hoping that it was going to be like the traditional brawl, and the 2nd Panzer kind of fooled them there and said, no, we're not doing that. That's where a light tank would have helped, right? You could have got that light tank out and scouted that 1, 2, 3 line and sniffed all this out ahead of time.
Map picks tonight were kind of based on the layout of England. I was trying to get as best as possible. It took me a long time to try to get these maps and try to get which ones mimic the coastline and then inland England coming from the west. So hopefully I got it somewhat okay. Back to you, Dis.
I was just saying, this is kind of interesting because both teams have kind of like almost swapped sides. Is that KMD kind of left their base, but then is using the ridge line to defend it. And 2nd Panzer, kind of like with the last map, has grouped all their tanks very tightly together up on that opposite hill. And we'll just kind of have to see how this plays out. I think if these patents get dimed out over here and they're all lit up, the Karate Kid's a one-shot, he just goes down. And I think Sudden Death is in a little bit of trouble here. Sudden Death goes down. These are big losses to lose these tanks.
Yeah, lose those eyes. At least with him being there, you have eyes on those TDs.
Yeah. If Sudden goes down right here, he's a one. Sudden goes down, so they've lost both of their patents now. Their other patent is Militia. He's doing all right, but oh my goodness, they just lost a 57. I think a Death Star hit him. Or I'm sorry, not Death Star. The ship barn got him. This is where the high ground is paying off for KMD. And Militia now is getting melted, and they're just cleaning up everything that is on the HJK line. That would be KMD.
That is a very smart play they made. Get hold down behind these rocks, overlooking the base, and just have one person below, spotting them up and keep them proxy spotted.
Yeah.
Nothing can be done.
It was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty much a bait play, Omega, in my opinion. It was like, yeah, come and take our cap.
Right.
Like, how's that working out?
Yeah. Kind of hard to defend against two 4005s. The
Yeah.
DPM of a Badger's just sitting there alone, not including the rest
So
of
now
the
they're
Conquerors.
exactly, and now KMD's rotating in, so they're moving their tanks that were set up to kind of counter that field push by 2nd Panzer. Now they're really putting a lot of pressure on them up there on that one windmill. King is down to a one-shot. Goose is down to a one-shot. Wolf Silver could be a one-shot depending on who hits him. You got a Badger and a Chieftain just rolling up into your face. Ouch. Dead Pope in the 215B just pops him. Well, it goes without saying. I think the viewers can see it too. This one just came down to, I think, really just superior strategy by KMD.
Yeah.
I think the right call would have been they didn't, and this would be my only criticism, and I say this only as the person who's sitting here with the camera up in the air. You almost need to send your light tank the opposite way from where you're pushing. If they would have known how many tanks were on the 8-9 line, meaning 2nd Panzer, they would have had a huge overmatch. But they just didn't have that intel.
Right. They could have almost readjusted to the 5 line and literally cut them off from over there, and then possibly then rotate the Sheridan. But yet again, we're being armchair quarterback. So.
Yeah. Exactly. We're seeing this from a completely different perspective, but if you're pushing all your tanks one direction, why send your light tank there?
Right.
It almost seems like get some intel somewhere else because you're going to find out what's there in a minute. Do you want me to hit damage there on 2nd Panzer, or do you want to?
Yeah, go for it, buddy.
Okay.
You'll
cool.
just do some highlights.
Yeah. Well, let's pop through the highlights. There's a lot of good ones there. I mean, unfortunately for 2nd Panzer, they just couldn't get a lot going there. King in the E5 1600, Militia in the Patton about 1600. Same with Beers and Kicker. The only other one of note there is Wolf Silver in the E5, punching out just over 2K.
But he blocked 3820.
He did block 3820, which was huge. KMD keeping all their tanks alive and huge damage spread. Walp right there in the Super Conqueror, 2300, blocking 1600. Vapors in the 4005, putting up almost 3K. Very important game right there. Both Miserable Death in the Super Conqueror, 1200. Juicy Jerk, 2K, putting up 2K blocking. That's a huge game in the Super Conq on a map like this. Some big 3K games coming out of Pope in the FV215B, putting up 3200 damage, and in the Action X, also by Wrath of Achilles, putting up over 3500. And look at that blocking in a Action X, blocking 2750. That's a pretty darn good game. Monster Hunter and the Chieftain putting up 2K, and then finally the other 4005 by Cruiser putting up 2K with 3 kills. Kind of playing a little bit of cleanup there, but all important roles.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. KMD has won the last 2 in a row. Let's see if 2nd Panzer can tie this thing up and we can go to a playoff round on Highway. HK has given me permission to use the word shit barn on the stream. He's officially told me. I was trying to keep it all PG here. There's families that might be hearing about, watching in the background. Got to be considerate there.
Yeah, the 4005 has definitely come around to be more really used than the Death Star just because of its flexibility, especially
Yes.
after, I don't know, the buffs and all that stuff. They, that 10 degrees and all that stuff and speed.
Definitely seen it make more appearances. I mean, we've just seen it in the ladder matches in the recent tournaments that have been going on. It's definitely, it's not an every match tank, but you definitely see it come up in a match here and there.
Definitely.
And I think just for the reasons you mentioned, Omega.
Well, yeah, it reloads faster and has gun depression. Yeah, it's squishier, but I'll take a 500 trade for a 1200 trade any day.
What up, Northern Guy? What up, Lone? How you guys doing? Lone and his crew coming up next at the 10 p.m. 12 Pans versus White Wolves. So check that out.
I'm excited about that.
Hell yeah, second Pans are rolling out. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to run down the Feline Goose coming out in the 4005. Kicker 183. Militia, Sudden Death, both on 4202s. Beers, Odin, King, Super Conks. Killer Cab, Karate Kid, Wolf Silver, Chieftains.
Yeah, and over on the KMD side, we got two different TVs, the E4 by Juicy Dirk and Monster Hunter rocking the E3, Sheridan by Cruiser, one patent only with Vapors, and then 357s, that's pretty dangerous, Wrath of Achilles, Reaper, and Wulp, and then 3 E5s with Pope, Death, and Warthog. Let's go.
All right, so right now the British are still winning. The Americans have not made it past. So they had a different try at Duke La Pass. Let's see what happens here. But
yeah.
Brits definitely holding it strong. We might have to have a rematch.
Brits been doing?
To have a Brits and maybe the Soviets invade Brits on these maps.
That could be quite interesting. I love all these nation battles. I just think they're fascinating to watch. And they're fun to see all the different tanks out here.
I'm thinking that sounds great. All the winning nations now start fighting against each other as they have won all the battles. So
love it. So what we saw in the last map was KMD just had a really good strat, in my opinion, and 2nd Panzer didn't get the intel. So let's see how 2nd Panzer counters now in terms of setting up their strat and what kind of intel they're able to grab. Like they're keeping Goose back there with the shit barn there, right behind the cap, hidden by those rocks. That could be a little surprise tank. And then they got a kicker over here, or sticker, I don't know how to say that with the S in the front. In the Death Star. Kicker?
Skicker? I don't know. Hell, I don't know.
Kicker?
We're good at botching names, so I'm just going to call you Kicker.
Yeah, Kicker it is. Kicker with an S in front. So good intel here by 2nd Panzer. Both those chieftains and the 4202 kind of sniffed out that there are tanks on the 2 and 3 line for KMD. Key is don't let KMD get up on that ridge. If you give them the ridge, you're throwing away a huge advantage. I like where the chieftains are set up with Karate Kid and Killer. Put up some crossfire. I think it's critical that they hold that F line.
Very much so. They got to keep that ridge line.
Yeah, look, they have to. If that ridge line goes, I think their strat falls apart. Now look at this push with the. I don't know if it's. I don't want to say it's a full-on push, but they're sneaking up tanks down the middle of the town, right down the 5 line. Are they going to join, or are they going to just hold that area? I think they're just holding. unlike the last map, both teams have spread out a little bit. And we have kind of a standoff right now. This is where both sides kind of probe each other and are looking for weaknesses and overmatches.
So I was just informed that Walt, for the one person we're having issues pronounce his name, nickname is Kuza. So that's what we can easily call him by now.
That's so easy. Okay. Walt is now Kuza.
Hope just getting ripped. Wow, nice focus fire.
Yeah.
Vapor's doing a good job there keeping Odin.
Yeah.
Vapor's now lighting up all Kinga and Beers on the backslide.
Yeah. He's throwing some shots in. Trying to root those super conquerors out, but that's a tall order to get those super conks and 4202s out of that position. He can use those rocks and those ridge lines. But in my opinion, that's not the battle. I think, look, they got how many? 3 super conks, a 4202, all tied up with 1 Patton and a Sheridan. I'll take that trade out any day. But what's KMD going to do about it here on the other side?
Ooh, Vapor's getting... Oh, goodbye.
I think he made a mistake by retreating down that hill. He had a pretty good position. I don't know. Again, I hate to second guess people because you never know if the caller is calling them to rotate or something. Hope goes down. Good firing there. See, that's the danger by giving those super conquerors that position.
Here comes the push, though.
Yeah.
Wrath putting in his rounds, but he's going to go down.
They have to. KMD doesn't have a choice. They need to get tanks out here on this side. Wolf Silver's a one-shot. Thing is, KMD... sorry, not KMD. Second Panzer's playing really well in keeping their tanks hull down, conserving hit points.
Oh, there's a huge hit. 1,800 into Sulfuric Reaper from the 4005.
Yep.
E3
that
takes
paid
out
off in the back.
Militia. Yeah, it does. Can Karate Kid pick off the E3 from right here? Yes, he does. Here comes
Looks
the
like
crossover.
Second Panzer's going to take this pretty easy, yeah. They did a really nice job. I think the key on this one for Second Panzer is they knew what they wanted to set up, and they were very...
Miserable Delta was sitting there with almost full health, and then gets greeted by a 183 round. Oh, man.
Yeah, ouch. They were very patient with their strategy, and it paid off for them. Very patient. And you have that luxury when you are defending versus an assault. Oh, come on, Cruiser. Don't run away for the next 3 minutes.
Right along with Cruiser here. See what he's aiming at. Nice. Cruiser wanting to take on the world.
Yeah, but they know where he's at now, so I think it's not going to last too long. We're starting to see one trend in these 4 games, and that's the impact of those high alpha TDs that the British rock.
Right.
Those display are devastating cleanup tanks, and they really negate successful pushes. There you go. Second Panzer ties it up to a piece. Really nice play by them. Great counter strat, and
this is our first game 5.
No jokes. Yeah, I know. Looking over on the KMD side, um, not a huge amount of damage across the board there. There's a few notables. Monster Hunter and his E3 put up about 1600, as does Cruiser in the Sheridan, but most of that was from deep distance. Biggest damage dealer with almost 3K in the T57 was a Reaper. Pretty good game there. Over on the second Panzer side, really nice damage spread across the board there. Karate Kid in the Chieftain putting up 2,500. Pretty darn good game there. Wolf Silver putting up 2K in his Chieftain. In the Super Conqueror, Beers putting up 2,700 damage. Pretty good. Militia in the 4202 putting up 1,600 damage. Sudden Death in the other 4202 putting up 1,700 damage. And down there at the bottom, Odin in his Super Conqueror putting up almost 2,400 damage, blocking 1,600. He was critical over on that other little hilltop. And then we got two damage dealers over 4K, and as you would expect, they are the Death Star coming in there with Kicker. 4K damage. A great game there and a kill. And then the other one, the Shit Barn, the 4005 Goose, 2 kills and another 4K. Those tanks were devastating, combining for over 8K damage.
Oh yeah. Great job going out to both teams. We're gonna get to see a game 5. That'll be live on Highway.
And this one goes counter, correct?
Yep. Highway Encounter.
Highway Encounter, excellent. I believe the encounter mark is in the city.
In the city.
So it's located, over there in like K0. So both teams basically got to go to the city.
Right.
Not a whole lot of flanking going on here.
This is where you're probably going to see the triple 57 heavies come in very handy.
Yeah, and I can also see maybe E3s working really well in that city.
On Highway, are we picking? Is left side still British, right's American? This is our first time going to tiebreaker, or do they get choice of you either pick American or British? Because we could do. What would make it interesting is if either team got pick American or British. A mixed lineup.
Kells is determining what is next step on that. I'm down for either way.
So Tails KMD wants the northeast spawn.
With the northeast spawn on Highway.
Or
So
they
that
want British.
is the right side.
Right side? Awesome.
Right side is the north.
But they say they want British though, so.
To be right. So it's. KMD's just going to elect to go with right, so they have to be swapped over. All right, there we go.
Moving it all around and getting it set up for the tie-breaking match on the highway.
I think the Americans have the advantage here.
I would like, but you know, here's the thing: is we've seen
4,000
these British
pies.
TDs just, I mean, they can sit at range and just aim down those lanes. And you want to be the first tank to poke around the corner with double shit barns?
Someone has to
I
take
guess
the
if
hit.
your caller tells you to go out there, but if it's my option, no. Well, but here's the only counter is that so far the British TDs have been able to play way back in maps like Dukla and Overlord and be effective.
Right.
If they got to get up close and personal in city combat on a good aggressive push team, you're going to go focus those tanks out. You will not let them get another shot off. The 57s, like on the American side and on the flip side, you're not going to let the 4005 or the 183 get a second shot off. You're going to go take those tanks out.
Right, and I'm kind of surprised here to not see drop an E5 for a 57 and only run maybe one pattern and pull out the E3. That, I mean, an E3 versus Hesh, it shakes it off pretty easily. So, I mean, you'd have to get
it's a good round there. You don't need a lot of flexibility. You just kind of stick that tank and point it. Look, oh boy, the double 4005's up there. Yikes.
You want to go down KMD? I'll go down second pens.
Sure. Cruiser and Vapors in the double 4005s with the Death Star being rocked by Reaper. We have 3 Super Conquerors with Kuza, Dirk, and Miserable Death. 2 Chieftains, Monster Hunter, Warthog, and then the FB215B, Wrath of Achilles, and Pope.
Over on the second Panzer side, here we go. Vikings, Kicker, Doug, 57 Heavies, Goose, Wolf Silver, Kinga, all in E5s. Sudden Death, Cab Scout, both in patents. And then Ferda Beers and Odin rolling out that pair of E4s. Game 5, exciting. Wow.
Back and forth. I mean, Second Panzer just came out really strong, and then KMD came back, took 2 games, and then Second Panzer stepped up to tie it up. So, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better matchup.
Right. Absolutely correct. This is going to be so interesting.
I didn't see you had your little Santa cat icon up there. I just noticed that.
Oh, the Santa Cat?
Yeah, I forget you put that up every year.
Yep, another creation by my good friend right here, Mr. Omega. So
yeah, Omega has some good stuff. He also made our overlay for tonight's battle, episode 4.
Absolutely craziness going on here. We got a mad dash down the K line.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get on the K line.
So this is where speed comes in. Speed, hills, and how fast you can get your tanks in position. I'm going to give a little bit of advantage. Maybe the Americans have it. I don't know.
See, I would have swapped out the patent for like an M60 to get up there faster.
Yeah.
And then swapped out the other patent for an E3 and have like, I mean, have the E5s.
Honestly, I would have brought maybe just one patent and just camped it right about where Killer Scout is, and I would have taken those hit points into the city.
Right.
With another heavy. This is going to come down to the city brawl.
I've never noticed how devastating an all-American lineup is going down highway. And then you rotate out, and then you look over at the Brit. Dude, that's a lot of DPM and firepower coming out both sides.
Yeah.
I mean, that is...
It's really hard to say. So here's where you can get that rear side cap
Cav
pressure.
Scout, 99% of his life gone.
Jeez.
And he's
oh
gone.
my goodness. Yeah. That's just, oh.
So now the dirty thing is
Devastating
here
news
on
right there.
is the dirty spot that you can where Monster Hunter is chilling. I wish.
Yes,
I wish-
that's what I was just about to say. Is that
that
yeah.
spot is so dangerous.
you can get cap pressure and you can kind of side scrape it a little bit. I haven't really seen it done in the Chieftain. Just got ammo rack there.
But now Kicker got into the counter position, and Wolf Silver.
Yeah.
So there we go. We're not going to see any crazy camping or anything like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, and Goose is in the counter cap. That's where you can go into that little wedge there, that little door in between those two buildings, and start getting that position working for you. I like how 2nd Panzer is kind of set up. They're clogging up all the lanes and kind of creating that diagonal, but now KMD is kind of fanning out. But watch out for those 4005s.
I just noticed Vapors has 3 dirty marks on that 4005.
Does he? Oh, you're right. I'm looking at that. That is nasty.
He's
Doug
put out
is down to a
3,500
one
damage
shot.
so far.
Goose already went down. Doug just went down.
Yeah, Vapors has
KMD
put out
is,
3,500 so far.
Wrath of Achilles, I don't know why he's pushing forward with 2,600, but he just plunked a shot in there. Oh, there's a big shot. Boom, boom, down goes Odin. KMD's really putting it on him right now. Vikings is down to a one shot by 2nd Panzer. He goes down. Beers is in trouble. He's a potential one shot. Yeah, and he goes down. Wow.
Yeah, we're
Cleanup is
finding that the
real.
American tanks are susceptible to Hesh rounds very easily.
Yeah.
Maybe the Russians not so
Very.
much. Maybe we do have to bring
But
the
the
Russians
Americans, you're right. These Americans are not surviving. And I think it's also just the overall DPM. It's the big alpha and then the DPM.
in. Yeah, that combination of the reload of a Super Conqueror to fend off while the 4005s or the Death Stars are reloading every 25 seconds. So with the Super Conquerors are shooting 3 times for every one time, but still
Yeah,
they're able to hold somebody in place and boom.
When we talk about the E5 and we're like, oh yeah, it's a good tank, but we see why it's not used in comp. I mean, I'm not blaming 2nd Panzer or calling them out. It's the same thing when it's something on the KMD side. E5s just haven't delivered in this game. Not in
The
this
British
match
have
tonight, at least.
dominated. In the
Yeah.
past 3 episodes that we've had, it's been team play in that. But I do have to say that this 4th time around, it's been dominant British. It's just that 4005 with the DPM of everything else. It's just that combination. But one thing I was thinking about is that us doing this might actually, like Hell's brought up, is not as very many tanks get played in comp as normally is until we bring these out. But now we're showcasing what is possible that might change up some of the comp dynamics.
Sure.
If you think about it.
And in some
Makes you
cases,
see what-
we're reconfirming why.
Or
tanks
reconfirming
aren't
why
used.
why an E5 does not stand a chance.
Yeah, and again, look at the
Good point.
the 57s, where you'd think the 57s would really sing. You could see over there on the 2nd Panzer side, you have 2 of them at about 1,200 damage, and Kicker down there at the bottom with just about 1,600. Again, those are tanks you'd hope. You'd like to see them in a 2K plus position. The Patton by sudden death, around 2K, and then the only other 2 tanks of any note there on 2nd Panzer is Kinga put up 2,400 and blocked 1,200 in the E5, pretty good. And the other E5 with Wolf Silver hanging on with 3,200 in damage and blocking 1,600. But it just wasn't enough against those Brits. Over on the KMD side, some really good damage spreads, starting there with Miserable Death and the Super Conqueror putting out 2K. Warthog and the Chieftain 1,600. Skipping on down there to Cruiser in that shit barn, putting up 2,500, doing some good stuff there. And then the big numbers start to really roll out for KMD. Vapors in his shit barn, putting up 3,600 damage. A really nice game right there. All the way at the bottom, Juicy Dirk and his Super Conqueror, 3 kills, 3,700 damage, blocking 1,600 plus. Awesome game there. And then Pope, the FV215B, 3 kills, 4K, and the victory going to KMD 3-2. Back to Hells.
Alrighty, there we go, guys. As you see it, first time out. So KMD wins this one, 3-2. We got to see our game 5. That was absolutely awesome. And now we're going to get ready to be set up for the 10 p.m. hour, which will be your White Wolves versus 12 Panzer. So sorry about that, trying to get everything done. And
No,
trying to
another
redo it.
Panzer, yeah. It gets confusing with all the Panzers in here tonight.